I don't know whether you celebrated the Feast of the Epiphany last Friday on the 6th, its proper date, or whether you transferred it to yesterday to fit your Sunday service schedule. But I hope your celebration brought you much treasure, not necessarily gold, frankincense and myrrh, but treasure in the sense of much to ponder and to be thankful for. For Epiphany, literally a feast of realization or revelation, is a time when God is revealed to us all through the visit of the Magi to Jesus. But it's not all positive. That visit is also the catalyst for the massacre of the innocents and the Holy Family's flight into Egypt, about which Malcolm Guite wrote his poem Holy Innocents. You may have heard it, as it was read at our own new King's request at the recent carol service to commemorate the late Queen. It begins, "We think of him as safe beneath the steeple, or cosy in a crib beside the font. But he is with 1,000,000 displaced people on the long road of weariness and want." As the season of Epiphany continues, the splendour of the Magi's visit might fade into memory, but the effects of their visit linger on. It won't be long now before we start hearing of more people crossing the channel in small boats, or see TV images of refugee camps in other parts of the world, or meet Ukrainian families still needing hospitality as they cannot yet return home. In all of these encounters, we find echoes of the Holy Family, still travelling with 1,000,000 displaced people on the long road of weariness and want. But this is not only a story of Bible days and our own time. People have always had to flee their homes and seek refuge. The 9th of January is the feast day of one such person, which is probably why I'm reflecting on it today. Hadrian was a Christian in North Africa during the 7th century, and he crossed the Mediterranean to Italy, fleeing persecution. He was welcomed by the Roman Church, met the Pope, and was even offered a job as Archbishop of Canterbury. I wonder whether the Church in England would have been different if he had accepted it. As it was, he accompanied the man who did eventually take the role on, and they arrived in Britain. Hadrian had travelled a long way since his upbringing in North Africa. His arrival on British shores would have been very different from his arrival in Italy, no longer a refugee, but now an honoured churchman. He worked with Theodore, the new archbishop, who appointed him abbot of St Augustine's monastery in Canterbury, where he founded a school of theology. But it was a school of theology with a difference, since he included poetry, languages, and astronomy among the subjects taught, which revolutionised monastic learning in Britain. When he died in 709, he was acknowledged as a saint. What does this story of Hadrian, a man who over 1,300 years ago made the long journey from North Africa to Canterbury, from refugee to shaper of the church and theological education in England, say to us today? What can we see of God's revelation to us in this Christian of African origin who lived, ministered, and was a radical innovator at the heart of Anglo-Saxon Christianity? Can we hear a challenge to us to reevaluate how the church today might be shaped and changed by those whose backgrounds and ideas are different to ours? We don't know much about St Hadrian. His writings don't survive, and we don't know what he looked like. But I and others at St Augustine's College would like to commission an icon of him. An icon is not a portrait, but it's a visible sign of the presence of one of the cloud of witnesses which the Epistle to the Hebrews says continue to surround us. It's an image which serves as a tangible reminder of someone we revere and in whose life and faith we can see aspects of Christ's example lived out, as we can in Hadrian's life of perseverance and influence. If you would like to contribute to this project and help make St Hadrian better known, then information on how to donate, including a link, is in the email which brought this reflection to you. Any contribution, however small, is welcome. And even if you can't contribute financially, please hold in your prayers all those who, like the Holy Family on the flight into Egypt, also travel the long road of weariness and want, and pray that we might be open to the gifts they bring, as our forebears were enriched by the gifts of St Hadrian.